Hello. Today we're tackling a pricing method called Gabor-Granger. If you've seen my Van Westendorp video, this is the perfect follow-up, because where that method gave us a price range, this one zeroes in on the single price that makes you the most money. And like everything in this series, it's simpler than the name makes it sound. Let's pick up right where we left off. Quick recap. Last time, the Van Westendorp method handed us an acceptable price range for our product, a floor, a ceiling, and a comfort zone in between. That's useful, but it left one big question unanswered. Out of all the prices in that range, which one actually earns the most money? That's exactly the gap Gabor-Granger fills. So let's see how. Here's the core idea, and it's refreshingly direct. Instead of asking customers about ranges or feelings, we show them one specific price and ask a single yes or no question. Would you buy it at this price? Then we change the price and ask again. By doing that across a bunch of price points, we learn exactly how many people are willing to buy at each one. So what is Gabor-Granger formally? It's a pricing technique that measures how many people would buy your product at each price you test. From those answers, we can map out demand and pinpoint the price that maximizes revenue. And the best part for beginners, there's no heavy math here. It all comes from a simple yes-no answers at different price points. The process has 3 steps. First, you pick a set of prices you want to test. Second, you ask customers, would you buy at this price? Third, and this is the clever bit, if they say yes, you try a higher price. If they say no, you try a lower one to find their personal limit. Do that across hundreds of people and you end up with a buy rate at every price, the percentage who say yes. Let's bring back our premium coffee subscription from the last video. We're going to test 6 monthly prices, $15, $20, $25, $30, $35, and $40. For each of those, we ask our customers the same simple question. Would you subscribe at this price? Their answers are about to turn into something really useful. Here are our results. The percentage of people who said they buy at each price. At $15, 88% are in. At $20, 78%. At $25, 65%. At $30, it drops to 48%, and at $35, 30%. At $40, just 18%. No surprise in the direction. The higher the price, the fewer people buy. But these exact numbers are what makes the next steps work. When we plot those buy rates, we get this downward sloping line, the demand curve. As price goes up, demand comes down. And here's the useful part. That slope literally is your price sensitivity. A steep drop means customers are very sensitive. Small price increases scare a lot of them off. A flatter line means they're less sensitive, and you've got more room to raise the price. Now here's the key insight that makes this method powerful. More buyers is not the same as more money. To find the best price, we multiply each price by the share of people who'd buy at it. That's our revenue. For example, $25 times 65% gives us an index of about 16.25. A cheap price wins tons of buyers, but earns little from each one. The best price balances those two forces. So let's plot revenue at every price. Watch what happens. It climbs from 15 up to 20, keeps climbing to 25, and then it starts falling. The peak is right here at $25, with the highest revenue index of any price we tested. That's our revenue maximizing price. Notice it's not the cheapest, which won the most buyers, and it's not the most expensive. It's the sweet spot in between. One more layer worth knowing. Revenue is the top line, but profit is what you actually keep. If we subtract our cost per customer, say $8, and run the same math, we're now looking at the profit maximizing price. In our case, $25 still comes out on top. Revenue tells you how much money comes in. Profit tells you how much stays with you. For real decisions, you'll want both. If you watched the Van Westendorp video, here's a satisfying moment. That method gave us an acceptable price range. Gabor-Granger just found the best price inside that range. And in our coffee example, both methods pointed to right around $25. When two independent approaches agree, you can price with a lot more confidence. That's the power of using them together. Let's stay honest about the tool. Its strengths. It gives you a real demand curve. It pinpoints a revenue optimal price, and it's simple and behavioral, based on buy, don't buy decisions. But the limitations matter. The prices you choose to test can anchor people's answers. Stated intent always overstates real buyer behavior, and it tests your product in isolation, ignoring what competitors are doing. So treat it as a strong guide, then validate against real sales. 4 things to remember. 1. Test specific prices, not ranges. 2. More buyers does not mean more money. The cheapest price rarely wins. 3. The peak of the revenue curve is your target price. And 4. Subtract your costs for the profit maximizing price and always validate against real-world sales before you commit. Nail those and you've got a price backed by real customer demand. Thank you for watching.